The lion does not need to announce that it is a lion. It simply roars, and the jungle remembers. You see, the world has tricked us. It has filled our ears with noise and taught us that the loudest man in the room must be the one with the power. But I tell you today, that is a lie. True power, true confidence, true mastery, they do not need applause. They do not seek validation, and above all, they do not make noise. Winners stay quiet because they are not performing, they are transforming. The masses talk. The weak announce their intentions, inflate their worth, and exhaust themselves in a performance of success. But the winner prepares in silence. The winner works in silence. The winner builds empires brick by silent brick, and one day when the dust clears and the smoke fades, the world turns and says, from the shadows, from the grind, from the unseen battles fought in the quiet hours when others slept. When you think of today, do you want to win? I don't mean merely succeed. I mean dominate, overcome, achieve beyond what others dare dream. Then learn this secret today. Your power multiplies when you stop announcing your plans and start announcing your results. People waste their breath describing their dreams. Winners are too busy building them. The clock is ticking. Time is indifferent. The question is not will you get there, it is will you stay silent long enough to arrive without distraction. Talk is cheap, but belief is expensive. And belief is not worn like a badge. It is buried deep in the soul, forged in trials and proven through action. The man who needs to tell the world he believes is the man who still doubts himself. But the man who believes without speaking, who walks his path with unshakable faith and without the need for fanfare, that man is unstoppable. Listen closely. Silence is not weakness. It is strategy. It is discipline. It is the mark of those who are too focused to be distracted by the spotlight. They do not compete with others. They compete with themselves. Their silence is a weapon. Their humility is a shield. And their consistency is a sword. They do not chase recognition, they chase results. The weak seek approval, the strong seek purpose. And purpose does not require a stage. It requires solitude. That is where greatness is born, in the darkness, in the discipline, in the devotion to a cause greater than ego. And when the winner emerges, the world will notice, not because he demanded their attention, but because his work is undeniable. Let me tell you something vital. Energy is currency. Where you spend it determines your future, and those who win spend their energy wisely. They don't waste it proving themselves to others. They invest it in growth. They channel it into their vision. They focus on execution, not explanation. Every word you speak is energy spent. Every time you defend your dream to someone who doubts it, you are pouring energy into a cup that will never be full. The winner keeps his cup close. He fills it silently until it overflows. Then, only then, do people take notice. And by then it's too late for the critics, because results speak louder than opinions. What you must understand is this. The loud man is loud for a reason. He is afraid. Afraid you will see his doubt. Afraid you will see through the mask. But the silent man, he is grounded. He has nothing to prove, only something to become. While the world screams, he listens. While others post, he plans. While they talk of mountains, he climbs them. Success is not something you stumble upon. It is something you forge through fire. And the fire burns hottest in silence. There are no cheers in the early morning grind. There are no likes in the late night discipline. There are no followers in the solitude of sacrifice. But those who endure it, those who push through it, those who thrive in it, they are the ones the world calls champions. Long after the noise has faded, you do not need to declare your dreams to the world, declare them to yourself, in the quiet, in the mirror, where it matters. The world is not your audience, you are. Convince yourself, not them. And once you do, once your belief is internal and immovable, nothing, no man, no failure, no setback can take it from you. Because what is built within cannot be broken from without. Winners stay quiet because they are listening to themselves, to their inner voice, to their intuition. They are not distracted by the clamor of the crowd. They are tuned into the frequency of greatness, and that frequency is found in focus. You must become deaf to doubt, blind to judgment, immune to noise, for the noise will never stop. But you can stop listening. Here's the truth. Every moment you spend trying to be seen is a moment lost in your evolution. You must evolve in private. Shed your old skin in silence. Grow your roots in the dark, for only then can you bear fruit in the light. The tree does not shout as it grows. It simply reaches upward day by day, until one day it towers over the forest. Greatness is not announced, it is revealed. And it is revealed only to those who stay the course when no one is watching. It is earned in the silent grind, in the unseen sacrifices, in the quiet prayers, in the relentless faith. You must become your own motivation, your own validation, your own fuel, for the world will doubt you until you succeed. Remember this, the louder they are, the less they've done. The more they need approval, the less they believe. You were not born to explain, you were born to execute. Every second spent explaining your vision is a second stolen from building it. You don't owe anyone your plans, you owe yourself your progress. So protect it, guard your vision like treasure, because it is. You must understand this is not just about silence. It is about power, control, direction, mastery of your own mind. The silent man has already won half the battle. He has conquered the need for attention. And once that is gone, all that remains is action, clarity, precision. He is dangerous, not because he talks, but because he acts quietly, consistently, powerfully. There is an energy that surrounds those who move in silence, an aura, a gravity. They walk into a room and others feel them before they speak a word. That is presence. That is earned through discipline, not dialogue. And if you want that kind of power, if you want to be the one the world cannot ignore, you must first be the one they do not see coming. You must become addicted to your own progress. Not to praise, not to recognition, not to the opinions of the crowd, but to the inner fire, to the silent victories, to the daily disciplines that stack like bricks until one day you look up and you've built a kingdom. And the world will say, when did this happen? And you will smile, not with arrogance, but with knowing, because you were there the whole time. Quiet, focused, unstoppable. There is a storm inside you, not chaos, but force, control, purpose, and that storm is not for display. It is for direction. Do not unleash it in speech, unleash it in execution, in movement, in momentum, in mastery. That is where your transformation lies, not in the noise of your dreams, but in the silence of your discipline. The loud chase fame, the quiet chase freedom, and freedom comes not from being seen, but from becoming untouchable. Untouchable in mindset, in work ethic, in belief. That is what winners understand. That is why they disappear. That is why they vanish from the noise. Because while the rest of the world is chasing status, they are becoming legends. When they return, they do not speak. They show. They lead. They dominate. Not with volume, but with vision. They have nothing to prove, nothing to defend, because they've already done it. And they've done it where no one was watching. That is real power. And it is available to you, but only if you choose it. So I ask you now, will you keep talking about it, or will you disappear and build? Will you chase applause, or will you earn respect? Will you tell them what you're going to do, or will you do it so well they'll never forget? Because winners stay quiet, not because they are unsure, but because they are certain. They do not need to be heard because they are becoming impossible to ignore. And here is the truth you must carry like a torch through every trial ahead. Greatness is not for the many, it is for the few. Not because it is locked away, not because it is reserved, but because most will not do what is required. Most will chase attention instead of mastery. Most will speak before they act. Most will crave the illusion of progress more than progress itself. But not you, because you are hearing this now, and something inside you is stirring, not with comfort, but with conviction. You are beginning to remember who you are, who you were born to become. And in that remembrance lies the real secret, that everything you need is already inside you. Not in their approval, not in their applause, not in their permission. The winner knows this. That is why he does not seek outside affirmation. He affirms himself quietly, steadily, daily. And it is that internal belief, fortified in silence, that makes him dangerous in the world of noise. Understand this deeply. The world rewards those who finish, not those who speak of beginnings. Your ideas, they are worthless without action. Your goals, they mean nothing without execution. And execution does not come through talking. It comes through deciding, through cutting away distraction, through mastering your time, your habits, your focus. That is the difference between those who try and those who become. You must become ruthless, not toward others, but toward your own weakness. Ruthless with excuses, ruthless with wasted moments, ruthless with every tendency that pulls you toward noise. Silence, when chosen deliberately, is the blade that cuts through all that is unnecessary. It sharpens your edge. It aligns you with truth. And truth does not need to shout. The more powerful you become, the less you will feel the need to announce it. Because power does not beg to be seen. It radiates. It is felt, not heard. It is recognized, not requested. And that kind of power is only born in solitude, in commitment, in clarity of purpose. Let me tell you something the world won't. The greatest danger to your destiny is not failure, it is distraction. Noise is the enemy of depth. And we live in a world that worships noise, that confuses volume for value. But your future demands better. It demands that you tune out the world long enough to build something real, because what is real, what is lasting, what is legendary is not found in their eyes, it is found in your work. Your work is the altar where you prove your belief. You don't need to tell people what you're going to do. That's not your job. Your job is to become so exceptional that one day they'll look at you and say, of course, it had to be him. It had to be her. Who else could have done this? And when they ask how you did it, you won't say much, you'll just smile. Because the answer was never in the words, it was in the grind. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe it a demonstration. And the only way to demonstrate is to show up every single day, especially when no one is watching. Because those are the days that count, the unseen reps, the late nights, the early mornings, the quiet decisions to stay disciplined when comfort whispered your name. That is where champions are made. Not in the spotlight, not on the stage, but in the shadows. Your silence is not empty. It is full of intention, of purpose, of power. While others decorate themselves in temporary praise, you are becoming a force of nature, a presence that does not ask to be respected. It commands it simply by existing. And that kind of presence is unshakable because it was built without the crutch of external validation. Do not envy the loud. They shine for a moment, but stars born from noise burn out quickly. You are building something timeless, and timeless things require patience, precision, and privacy. The more sacred your mission, the more quietly you must move, because nothing great is created in chaos. It is forged in stillness. Now listen. There is a pressure in the silence, I know. That pressure is not your enemy. It is your sculptor. It is shaping you, molding you, testing your resolve. And if you remain still long enough, focused long enough, consistent long enough, you will emerge unrecognizable to them and even to yourself. The old you will be gone. The version that needed to talk, to prove, to explain, that version will be dead. And what remains will be a leader, a producer, a master of execution. You want to win? Stop proving and start improving. Do the work, close the door, cut off the noise. Enter the lab of your life and stay there until something extraordinary emerges. Stay there until your name becomes synonymous with excellence, until your presence alone shifts the atmosphere. That is not the result of talking. That is the result of transformation. And transformation requires isolation. It requires you to separate, not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. Because those who talk will not understand your silence. They will call you distant, arrogant, strange. Let them. You were not born for average understanding. You were born for elevated results. You must outgrow their language to speak your destiny. The climb is lonely, but it is in the loneliness that clarity is born. You will lose people, but gain yourself. You will shed habits and gain mastery. You will silence the world and hear your mission more clearly than ever before. And once you hear it, truly hear it, you will never again be tempted to broadcast your intentions. Because you will know deep in your soul that your future is not a matter of if, only a matter of when. There is no room for doubt in the heart of a builder. And builders don't explain the blueprint. They lay the foundation one stone at a time. You must become the kind of person who can be trusted with vision, who can carry a dream through storms, setbacks, and silence and not be shaken. That kind of person is rare. That kind of person is a winner. And that is who you must choose to become every day through every silent hour. No more declarations, no more announcements, no more pre-celebrations of things not yet earned. From now on, your words mean nothing. Only your work does. People will wonder where you've gone. Let them wonder. They will ask what you've been doing. Let your results answer. They will speculate, doubt, gossip, compare. Let them. Their noise is their own prison. Yours is a path of freedom through discipline. Let others speak. Let others announce. Let others perform. You build. You train. You study. You grow. You evolve. Quietly, powerfully, relentlessly, until the day your silence becomes a legacy. Because in the end, the winner is not remembered for what he said. He is remembered for what he became. And as you continue on this path, this quiet, disciplined, focused path, you'll discover something miraculous. You will begin to feel your power returning, not the false power of attention, but the real, grounded, immovable power that comes from knowing who you are, knowing what you're building, and knowing that you don't need anyone to understand it. That power changes everything. When you no longer depend on others to see your worth, you stop shrinking. You stop waiting. You stop explaining. You move like a giant through a world of sleepers, not to trample them, but to awaken them by example. Because the quiet warrior becomes the loudest symbol of possibility, not with words, but with what he becomes. But understand this level of power demands sacrifice. You cannot keep your old ways and expect a new outcome. You cannot hold on to comfort and expect transformation. Winners sacrifice the temporary for the eternal. They give up the buzz of recognition for the wealth of realization. They trade instant gratification for long-term dominance. And every day they pay that price in silence, without complaint, without announcement. You must be willing to do the same. Because until you are, the life you want will always be a concept, not a reality. Let me give you something real. If people know everything you're working on, you're not working hard enough. If they know every move you make, you're too available, too exposed. And exposed seeds do not grow. They get eaten. You are not here to entertain the world. You are here to elevate it. And to elevate it, you must first elevate yourself, not in noise, but in depth. You must become obsessed, not with being seen, but with being better, quietly, ruthlessly, consistently. Better than you were yesterday, better than the doubts you used to believe, better than the story they wrote about you. Reread it, alone, on your own terms, because no one is coming to do it for you. No one is coming to save you. And no one will care as much as you do. This is your life, your race, your mountain. So climb it without an audience. Conquer it without a show. And when you reach the top, plant your flag, not in their validation, but in your victory, a victory earned, not given. There is a fire inside you that cannot be ignited by applause. It is only lit through purpose, through discipline, through the decision to bet on yourself, even when no one else does, especially when no one else does. Because that's when your character is tested. That's when your real self is revealed. And if you stay quiet long enough, focused long enough, you will become unstoppable, not just in action, but in identity. And once your identity changes, so does your destiny. You are not faking it anymore, you're forging it. The real ones don't talk about mindset, they build one, brick by brick, choice by choice, quiet moment by quiet moment. While others rehearse motivation, the real winners are rehearsing mastery, the quiet kind, the kind that doesn't need a microphone. Do you want to live a life they'll remember? Then you must do things they're unwilling to do. You must disconnect from the need to impress. You must learn to build in obscurity, to labor in solitude, to craft your genius in the darkness of discipline. And when you do, you'll find a stillness so powerful, it will scare the noise away. Because real strength radiates silence. It needs no advertisement. It announces itself through excellence. Excellence that speaks louder than any words ever could. Let the others rush to speak. Let them chase likes, views, relevance. Let them rush into the spotlight without preparation. It doesn't matter. Because the ones who last, the ones who leave legacy, not just a footprint in the sand, are the ones who waited, who refined themselves, who walked through the fires of obscurity with grace and emerged with something the world could not ignore. You must fall in love with silence, because silence is where your future is written. It's where you meet yourself. It's where you discover the strength that can't be handed to you. It must be earned. You'll find that when everything goes quiet and the crowd fades and the world stops watching, you still have you. And that's all you ever needed. In that silence, your clarity will return, your direction will sharpen, and you will realize that nothing matters more than the path you're walking. You will walk it without needing a witness, because the power that is born in solitude can never be taken by society. And when you walk with that power, when your silence is louder than their noise, they will look at you differently, not because you told them to, but because you became undeniable. This journey you're on, it won't get easier, but you will get stronger. You will stop flinching at setbacks. You will stop reacting to criticism. You will stop needing validation, because you will know You're doing what most won't. You're investing where most won't. You're becoming who most can't. And there's nothing louder than that. One day, people will ask, what changed? And you'll smile, not because they finally see it, but because you saw it all along. You saw it when no one else did. You believed it when no one else clapped. You built it when they called you crazy. You stayed quiet not because you lacked belief, but because your belief was so deep, so solid, so unshakable, it didn't need an audience. That's what it takes. That's the price, and it's worth it. Because at the end of the day, legacy doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to the most disciplined, the most devoted, the ones who showed up when it wasn't easy, the ones who kept showing up, silently, strategically, relentlessly, until they became too real to be ignored. You were not born to fade, you were born to rise. But you must rise without the need for noise. You must rise without permission, without applause. You must build in secret and emerge in power. That is how legends are made. That is how movements are born. That is how the world is changed. Not by noise, but by those who stayed quiet long enough to become great. And now we step into the realm where very few dare to go. The place where transformation becomes irreversible. This is the space where winners separate themselves from the crowd for good. Not through arrogance, not through ego, but through a standard so high it makes most people uncomfortable. Because to win at the highest level, you don't raise your voice, you raise your standards. Every quiet decision you make, every silent sacrifice you commit to, every uncelebrated effort becomes a brick in the foundation of a life most only dream of. This is not fantasy. This is not magic. This is deliberate evolution. And it belongs only to those who have trained themselves to listen, not to the world, but to that inner voice that speaks in whispers of truth. You know the one. It doesn't scream, it doesn't demand attention, but it nudges you when you're drifting. It urges you when you're lazy. It pushes you when you want to quit. That voice is your greatest ally. Most ignore it. They drown it in noise. But the winner follows it like a compass, quietly, faithfully, until it leads them to mastery. And let me tell you what mastery really is. It's not the reward, it's not the stage, it's not the title. Mastery is the discipline of becoming so good that not even your silence can hide your greatness. It's when your work carries your name further than your voice ever could. That is the game. That is the goal. To operate at such a high level that results speak before you do. And you don't get there by doing what's easy. You get there by training your mind to love the hard, to love the lonely, to love the grind when no one is clapping, when no one is cheering, when no one is watching. That's the test. Can you move like a champion before the world recognizes you as one? Can you walk like a leader before anyone salutes? Can you commit like a winner before the prize is within reach? Because the truth is this, you don't become great after success, you become great before it. In the silence, in the shadows, in the hours that no one applauds. You become great when you choose principles over popularity. When you walk past opportunities for temporary validation and instead chase permanent growth. And that growth, it's uncomfortable. It demands more of you than you think you have. But here's the key. You do have it. You have within you a power that's been waiting to be summoned. A power that doesn't need hype. A power that doesn't crave attention. It just needs permission from you. The moment you give yourself permission to stop performing for others and start performing for your potential, you change the trajectory of your life. That's when you stop managing your image and start building your reality. Because let me tell you, real confidence is not loud. It doesn't swagger. It doesn't shout. Real confidence walks into a room and doesn't need to prove a thing. It's calm, it's composed, it's quiet, because it's built on evidence. The private victories, the daily discipline, the inner knowing that you've done what others haven't, that you've earned your edge. And that edge, it cannot be borrowed, it cannot be faked, it must be built. You build it in the morning when your alarm goes off and you rise, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. You build it when you study while they scroll, when you train while they rest, when you practice in silence while they post in noise. Every choice matters. Every decision adds up. You are compounding greatness or you are compounding regret. And no one can choose for you. So choose well. You must build a life that does not require applause to sustain you. A mission so rich with meaning that recognition becomes irrelevant. That is when you become dangerous. That is when you become untouchable. Because the world cannot manipulate someone who is self-sourced, someone who is built from the inside out, someone whose identity is tied to purpose, not performance. You are not here to compete. You are here to create. And creators don't copy the noise, they shape the silence. They mold it. They bend it into form. And then one day when their creation is complete, the world turns its head. Not because they were loud, but because they were right. Because they stayed the course. Because they kept showing up when others gave up. Because they trusted the process even when the results weren't immediate. That's your next test. Can you stay faithful to the vision when there's no evidence yet? That's where most fold. That's where most start talking. They try to convince others of what they don't yet believe themselves. But not you. Not anymore. From this moment on, you don't talk about the dream. You become the dream. In action, in consistency, in silence. Because here's a truth that will serve you well. The longer you delay gratification, the more powerful the result becomes. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them misunderstand. Every time they do, it's fuel. Quiet fuel. Invisible energy that you convert into effort. That's how the silent rise. Not in defense, but in demonstration. And as you rise, you will notice something beautiful. Your hunger changes. You no longer chase status, you chase standards. You no longer crave recognition, you crave refinement. And instead of seeking attention, you become addicted to alignment with your values, with your vision, with the best version of you. And you realize that the quieter you become, the clearer you hear. That version calling your name. Can you hear it now? It's not screaming, it's whispering. It's asking, how far are you willing to go? How deeply are you willing to believe? How silently are you willing to build? The winners already know their answer, and soon so will the world. And now we arrive at the moment of reckoning. The crossroads between who you've been and who you are becoming. It is not marked by fireworks. There is no crowd to witness it, no applause to encourage you, just you and the decision to rise. Quietly, steadily, deliberately. That's how greatness is born. Not with noise, but with resolve. And here's where most turn back. Not because they lack the dream, but because they lack the depth. The ability to keep digging when no gold is in sight. The courage to hold their vision sacred when the world sees nothing. But understand this, the world will not believe until you give it something undeniable. And that something must be forged in silence. This is why the winner stays quiet. Not to hide, but to hone. To sharpen the blade. To build something so real, so refined, so powerful, that by the time it is revealed, it cannot be challenged. Because the truth is, the quiet are not hiding, they are preparing. You're in preparation right now, whether it feels like it or not. Every early morning, every unnoticed rep, every internal battle won. Every time you resist the urge to speak before you act, you are preparing your legacy. And here's a truth that most won't say. Preparation is a price of inevitability. If you want the outcome to be guaranteed, then you must earn it when no one is watching. And this preparation, this silent season, is not punishment. It's privilege. It's the universe, giving you space to build without interference, space to fail without scrutiny, space to strengthen your identity without distortion. Use it, cherish it. Most waste it by trying to prove too soon. But the winner knows proving comes later, becoming comes first. And becoming requires a different kind of hunger. Not the hunger for approval, but the hunger for excellence. Not the hunger for noise, but the hunger for alignment between who you are and who you know you can be. That alignment is where all power comes from. Because when your values match your actions, when your standards match your behavior, and when your vision matches your habits, you become indestructible. Not flashy, not loud, but untouchable. And that's the age that cannot be bought, it cannot be faked, it must be built, decision by decision, in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments when no one is watching and everything inside you wants to compromise, but you don't. That is how quiet men and women rise to unshakable heights. They win the war within before they ever face the war outside. And here's something else you must understand. The quiet winner is not in a hurry. He knows that rushing results dilutes the process. He knows that anything built too quickly can crumble just as fast. He is patient, not passive, intentional, not impulsive. He knows the value of time because he's using it, not to perform, but to perfect. So while others are running to be seen, you slow down to master the unseen. You master the small. You dominate the details. You perfect the fundamentals. Because you know that big lives are not built on big moments. They are built on small disciplines, stacked relentlessly. And the world will miss this. They'll look at your breakthrough and call it overnight. Let them. They didn't see the years behind it, the pain behind it, the repetitions, the sacrifices, the decisions. They saw the results, but not the resolve. That's how it should be. Because your story isn't written for their entertainment, it's written for your evolution. So general illusion is not always visible, but it is always working. So here's the question you must live by from this moment forward. Am I building or broadcasting? Because you can't do both. If you're building, you don't have time to broadcast. If you're truly in alignment with your mission, you won't feel the need to announce it. You'll be too busy becoming it. That is how you reclaim your edge. That is how you rise, while others wait. And when the time comes to reveal what you've been building, there will be nothing left to say. Your work will speak, your presence will speak, your being will speak. But until then, keep the mission sacred. Guard it from distraction. Protect it from premature exposure. Water it in silence. Feed it with discipline. Defend it with action. The quiet winner knows that talk is tempting, but transformation is costly, and he is willing to pay that cost in private, because he knows what's coming is too valuable to risk for temporary attention. And you know it too. That's why you're still here, still listening, still leaning forward into the words, not for hype, but for truth. You are being reminded of who you are, not who they told you to be. You are being returned to your power, not the false power of approval, but the real power of self-governance. That inner authority that says, I don't need permission to become the best version of myself. That power cannot be outsourced. It must be owned. So you must own your habits, own your choices, own your environment, own your energy, own your outcomes. Not with arrogance, but with accountability. Because the moment you stop outsourcing blame is the moment you reclaim your crown. And kings and queens do not shout, they rule. You are not here to follow noise. You are here to set standards that silence the noise. You are not here to explain your greatness. You are here to embody it in the way you think, in the way you walk, in the way you work, when no one is clapping and no one is looking. And yes, there will be days when it feels invisible, days when it feels like it's not working, days when it feels like you're walking alone. But remember this: what is invisible now will become undeniable later. Your silence today is not empty. It is pregnant with legacy. You are not lost. You are becoming. And the world may not see it now. They may not understand it now. But the moment will come when the results of your silence are louder than the noise they chased. And in that moment, there will be no need to speak, because your life will be the loudest voice in the room. So now the question stands before you, burning in your mind, impossible to ignore. What are you going to do with the silence? Will you run from it, afraid of what it asks of you? Or will you step into it like a warrior, knowing it's the only place where you'll meet the version of yourself you were born to become? Because here's the truth that no one wants to face. No one is coming to do it for you. No one is coming to build your dream. No one is coming to enforce your discipline. No one is coming to drag you into your greatness. That is your job, your fight, your mountain. And the world won't wait for you to feel ready. It moves, with or without you. So the only question left is this: are you moving with it? Or are you still standing in the comfort of noise, hoping someone else will validate what you already know inside? You are not average. You were never meant to be. You know it. You've always known it. But the world has conditioned you to doubt it, to delay it, to drown it out with distraction. But not anymore. Not after this. Because the flame is lit now. Once it's lit, it cannot be unlit. You can't unhear this truth. You can't unsee your own potential. You can't go back to pretending that you don't feel called more. So take that restlessness inside you and honor it. Take that vision you've been hiding and build it. Not next year, not someday, now. Quietly, relentlessly, unreasonably, now. You don't need a crowd to rise. You don't need permission to begin. You don't need applause to become the person you were designed to be. All you need is the courage to start, to trust, to believe in your own ability to transform, and to make a silent vow, right here, right now, that you will not leave this world wondering what could have been. Not this time. This time you go all in. You silence the noise. You embrace the process. You build in the dark. And when the day comes, and it will come, when the world sees what you've done, when they finally witness what you've become, they'll ask how you did it. And all you say is, I stayed quiet and I did the work.